Hello, my trigger-happy friends. My name is Stevie Cade, and thank you for joining me on my journey, continuing to review all the Star Wars movies in chronological order, no spin-offs, leading up to the rise of Skywalker. We are in the endgame now, the very last episode right before the new film. And this has been quite a journey. I started off these reviews not really being a Star Wars fan, not really knowing the mythology or the movies all that well. So how does it hold up in the mythology and the continuity of all the other movies? Well, let's dive into that. But before we do, if you could be so kind, hit that subscribe button and the bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Alright guys, grab your keyboards, head down to the comment section, and let's review Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Okay, I am not a fan of this movie. I knew going into it that it was also very divisive, more divisive than The Force Awakens, and I went into it with a very open mind, and I've watched it twice now, and I don't like this movie all that well. But there are some good aspects, so let's dive right into what I do like about this movie. The cinematography is stunning, and all the way up to the last battle on the planet Crate, where you get this ruby and white contrast of a color palette, pretty much symbolizes the good versus evil battle that's happening in that moment. And I thought that was a really creative use of colors, and all around the cinematography and establishing shots throughout this entire film are jaw-dropping. They don't hold back, along with the graphics. The graphics themselves are almost flawless, but it wasn't cartoony or rubbery. Even when we get a close-up of Snoke's face, it's not awkward. Like I would believe that fairly to be a real person who happens to look all fucked up.
You're just a child in a mask.
And I also like the themes that drive the First Order and the Resistance. The First Order, or Snoke's drive to manipulate the weakness of others so he can use them as a pawn in his game. That really outlines the entire theme of what the dark side is. And then on the other hand, you have the Resistance, who are the spark that will light the flame that will destroy the First Order. And that's a theme that they not only say blatantly, but they live up to that throughout the movie. They know that they're not going to be what takes out the First Order, but they are going to be the inspiration for it, and they know that by the end of this movie. And I thought that was really cool themes that they had on both sides. I also think they tapped on a really significant political narrative, how the rich are profiting off the war, selling weapons to both the First Order and the Resistance. I really hope they dive more into that in The Rise of Skywalker, because that kind of shows you who the real enemy is. You got good and bad, but then you got the people in the back making them fight each other. That's a really cool aspect. I hope they dive more into it. And just a little side note of something I liked in this, the walkers, they're anchored. Their legs are bigger and wider and anchored, and now they make sense. No longer being able to be taken out by, regular old cow tipping. So that was a good evolution to the walkers. That made me happy, because I thought those were pieces of shit of transport to begin with. Now they make a little bit more sense, a little more grounded, lower center of gravity. Good job. But moving right along to what I'm on the fence about in this film. This film tried to be different, and that's not a bad thing to try to do. Get that right out of the gate with the opening shot. It's not another perspective shot of the First Order or the Imperial ship, coming into frame or sneaking into frame or whatever into frame. It's something different. We actually see the Resistance ship, they're evacuating. They know that the First Order is on their way. Another example is the use of lightsabers in this movie. There's no real lightsaber battle, and I'm okay with that. They use the lightsabers to battle other things, different types of enemies, and different advanced weapons, and that's fine with me. But you can tell they tried very hard not to give us the same thing, which made this installment feel more like a spin-off than it was an actual sequel to The Force Awakens, which I think was the director's angle. But it didn't quite work out because you made yourself a little too different. This movie would probably fit more into a Rogue One type of world, which is, I know, same world, but they both have that not so Star Warsy feel to them. In the continuity of the chronological Skywalker saga, this feels like a throwaway movie. Filler to get to the next story. Falls into Attack of the Clones category for me. Now we immediately dive into what I don't like about this film. Almost everything about this movie is off. It's a discombobulated story. Everyone's wishy-washy. This person's good. Oh, now they're bad. Ooh, I like this person. Oh, now we don't like them. I I want you to die. Now I want you to live. No real resolve of where people actually end up. It's just that awkward back and forth through the whole movie. And then the whole Finn and Rose storyline, I didn't understand that. I understand what they were doing. They went to go get this guy so they can decode this thing and stop the thing from... you know what? Around this part of the movie is where I wanted to check out. I found myself being bored. What's going on here? Okay, how's this going to pay off? And then it never pays off. It doesn't pay off. They fail their mission, which is fine to do in a movie. You can fail at your mission. That's fine. It doesn't seem that anyone learned a real lesson from it. It was just, hey, we need this movie to have this runtime, so here's this story. I mean, honestly, the plan that they had wasn't that bad of a plan. I felt like maybe the rest of the Resistance would have probably went along with them and maybe helped them in this mission. Maybe not. It doesn't matter either way, because it didn't work out. He wasn't right for doing that. He wasn't wrong for trying. Your investment into that story never pays off. And now, the people that we are supposed to trust in this film, we gain trust from in The Force Awakens, they're constantly making bad decisions in this one, going against orders. Now we don't want to listen to you, so we're going to do what we want to do because we're the key characters, so fuck y'all. No moral adjustments, no lessons learned, and no payoff. So, the comedy in this film was very one note, and they just put punchlines in random spots. They just put the comedy in just random places in this movie. Right from the get-go, Luke Skywalker, and he's handed Anakin's lightsaber, takes a long look at it. Am I supposed to laugh? Was that funny? Did you laugh? There's a lot of that. It's a lot of random punchlines in situations that don't deserve them, and it just happens consistently throughout the movie. They deliver that same punchline over and over and over and over again.
The Republic is no more. Your fleet are rebel scum and war criminals.
Tell your precious princess there will be no terms. There will be no surrender.
Hi, I'm holding for General Hux.
This is Hux. You and your friends are doomed. We will wipe your filth from the galaxy.
Okay, I'll hold.
Did you hear that? You made a joke. You don't expect it in this moment. And also, there are a lot of inconsistencies, like even from shot to shot, like Luke Skywalker's wardrobe change. When we are introduced to him, he's wearing this light clothing, kind of beige thing. He tosses the lightsaber, goes up into his little cabin. Rey comes up, knocks on his door. The next shot, we're being shown her catching him up on what all happened in The Force Awakens, but he's wearing black clothing. Like, did he change from that moment to this moment? I don't know. It's something that threw me off a little bit. Like, how much time has passed here? Even the weather is inconsistent. Again, on the planet Achtu, there's one part where it's very windy, very rainy, and it looks cold and uncomfortable. Then the Force kind of pulls Rey in to investigate another part of the island. And now all of a sudden, it's calm and quiet, and it doesn't seem cold. It seems almost warm, like there's a steam in the air. Oh no, but it's like the very next shot, like the weather just changed like that. Is this supposed to be the same scene? Is this supposed to be the same day? Because weather-wise, this doesn't look the same. And much like The Force Awakens, the First Order is a joke. They have big toys and little minds. Who was supposed to listen to who here? Who's in charge? It seems like once Snoke died, nobody's in charge. I don't know, they just kind of argued for who was going to be in charge, back and forth.
Who do you think you're talking to? You presume to command my army. Our supreme leader is dead. We have no ruler.
The Supreme Leader is dead.
Just a whole bunch of millennials. Just overprivileged little shits. Now for the characters. There's no real development. Nope. No real development with pretty much any of them. Maybe Kylo Ren and Rey have a little bit of development, especially with each other and their weird-ass relationship. But to me, they're the same at the end of this movie as they were at the beginning of this movie. Why did we just watch all this crap? I don't know. Finn just runs around pointlessly with Rose. Poe just keeps making the same mistakes, and I'm never really sure if he actually learns anything from them. Leia is in a coma. Snoke dies with absolutely no explanation of who, what, where, or how, or why, or whatever the fuck he is. No explanation. Nothing. We don't know what his deal is. But he's dead now, so don't worry about it. Then there's Luke. Poor Luke. Luke did learn a hard lesson in this movie, but it was a lesson from a situation that we only see in flashbacks and storytelling. His departure from the Force holds no validity in this film, and it only lessens who he is as a Jedi. He does come back to the Force by the end of the movie, but it's only really to punk Kylo Ren and die because that was really hard. I don't understand Luke's purpose in this movie. Mark Hamill didn't get it either. Again, this is suffering from the director trying to change too much. Then there's Yoda. What the fuck is that? What is that? We're beyond this. Yes, we had the puppet in the 70s, and they tried the puppet in the prequels, and it didn't work, and they ended up using a CGI animation to fix that problem. So, are we going back to the puppet again? Why would we? Why would we do this? Why would we do this? Don't get me wrong, I'm glad he was in the movie. Everyone likes Yoda. It just lessens the quality of the film. It does. Overall, as I said, this movie tried very hard to be something different, and unfortunately, it was successful. It was a fast food Star Wars movie that essentially contained no real fulfillment. I see this movie as a very weak bridge to connect the two J.J. Abrams films. I mean, poor J.J., he's got a lot of cleaning up to do. And for those reasons, I'm giving this movie a D+.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Where do you stand? Are you for this movie? Are you against it? Now, a person who started out as not really giving a crap about the Star Wars movies, now I'm invested in it. Now I want to see how this ends. Are they going to do it justice? We'll find out. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Check out some more of my videos right here. And as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
I'll take it in my chambers.
General Hux.
Ah, good. Supreme Leader.